Hello, a quick announcement before you start the video. This is supposed to be the 16th episode for our podcast, but during the recording, being the person that I am, I changed it to 15th. So, yeah, don't mind that, alright? Apologies. Enjoy the video. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 15th episode of this Goonj. It is a podcast. Um, it's a podcast made by the students of Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Guwahati campus, and this is Ayushman. I don't know how. Yeah, alright. Okay, so first of all, we have revamped a few things here and there. As you can see my face, you can see me, and the second thing that you will notice is that we don't have a second person or a third person that we have in this episode. It's kind of gonna be me talking to myself, to the camera, but mainly myself about gaming. So yeah, it's not that comfortable if I'm gonna be honest, but we'll get by. We'll try to make it interesting. Okay, we'll try our best. So gaming, what is it really? Well, a lot of people that I have met, mostly even like some of my friends, when I talk to them about anything related to gaming, the first things that come to their minds are people who are raging, throwing their controllers everywhere, nerds, and a lot of other weird stereotypes that I have seen that are associated with gaming and the community, the gamers community. So I thought that perhaps we can use this episode in order to try to investigate, or more interestingly maneuver around those stereotypes, and probably I can, as a casual gamer myself, clear a few doubts. I sound like a professor, but that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, and probably gonna speak about how my experience was with gaming. Now, to understand how we really got here, we would probably have to talk about how or when did I actually start to get into gaming, right? And a lot of people, like, when they start gaming, they start thinking that before they even start, they give up. They think, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to get into this plethora of genres of gaming that we see nowadays. It's true, back then we didn't have much choice with what kinds of games we were gonna play, but now it's just everything is everywhere. You on one hand, you would probably be fighting some kind of monster, trying to save the world. On the other hand, you are gonna be flying a plane or simulating flying a plane. It's absolutely uncanny how far the gaming industry has come when it comes to making games that are very lifelike, or they're kind of simulations of real life. And the metaverse is also coming up, so that's another deal, but we'll not talk about that right now. I don't want to confuse you. So so I started gaming without even touching the controller at some point, or the keyboard or the mouse. So I was, as a child, what we call in the gaming community as a backseat gamer. I would watch my elder brother play. He would play GTA in our family computer, and I would see him play, and from that I kind of understood I saw playing him, and I would basically scream at him what to do, what I think he can do, although obviously he knew what he was doing, but that happens. Okay, it's a very natural thing. So So I would see him play, and before I knew it, I understand how to play, how to play the game in a very basic sense, how to walk around, how to shoot, and that's all. And at some point, my brother also, once I grew up a little more, he allowed me to play on the computer, and he made me my own save file. It was great. And I did not really go around completing objectives in this game. What I did was basically explore the game. I just went around and let my let my curious side take over. I just walked around the city, killed a bunch of people, and then got killed by the police. But that's another thing. And yeah, that's how I basically got into gaming. It's just me messing around with the game, testing the limits of the game, and that's how, before I knew it, I became a casual gamer. I do not like to call myself a competitive gamer, because that's a hell that even I cannot endure. But anywho, so yeah, so that's kind of how I got into gaming. And a lot of people do ask me, oh Aishman, why do you think gaming is such a huge deal for you? Like, why is it so important for you? And to be honest, I think that when people go and try out games, they are not having the right mindset when it comes to it. All right, it's a lot of people would see it as a kind of a chore, or as a kind of an impossible mountain to climb. And I would like to say, tell those people that, first of all, everyone has a different experience with gaming, so you cannot, so this is just my opinion, but I think that you should go into gaming not thinking of it as something, this whole community of people do or something like that. No, think of it as just the newest form of art. So why would I call gaming an art? If you think about it, it's basically a culmination of all forms of art that we have seen today, right? There is sound design, there's a lot of graphics design in there, animation, then 3D art, and all kinds of things come together, all kinds of art forms come together, and they make a game. And it's very easy to just ignore the work of all these people, but it's not that easy to make a game. Okay, the 3D games that you see today, they are like, if you get into the people who are into game development, who want to become game developers at some point, they understand what I'm talking about, because it's hard making a 2D game by itself, let alone you getting into Blender, starting to make your own game character models. It's absolutely difficult, and a lot of games take years to make. Okay, and people run out of money while making those games, so they have to go into Kickstarter to do it. Kickstarter is a platform where you can pitch your ideas about your games, and you get funded by people there. You can check it out if you want. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. So yeah, so I think that what we need to think about gaming is, we need to think of it as art. And a lot of parents think of it as, it's kind of a distraction for your kid, and it has, it's not that healthy for your kid. But it's wrong. And guess what? A lot of apparently they use Tetris in order to, or driving simulators in order to teach people driving in driving schools. So you can say all you want, or you can be ignorant of this culture as you want, but we are kind of taking over. So yeah. So what kind of impact has gaming had in my life at some point? I would have to say it's still kind of influencing my life at some point. I remember being having the worst kind of experiences, or like, you know, recovering from like the worst kind of experiences through games. And I would say it's at some point, like if I was not careful, it would have turned into an addiction, and any kind of addiction is bad. But that did not happen. I was always academically inclined, thanks to my parents, thanks mom and dad. But yeah, for the most part, it actually helped me with a lot of things in my life. A lot of games nowadays. Check out this game. It's called Celeste. All right, it was made by the developers to give the people, you know, suffering from any kind of mental illness a sense of achievement that you can overcome anything. All right, it's basically a game where you need to climb what seems to be an impossible mountain, literally, and that's all there is. On every step, the character is told that they cannot do it, but in the end, once you do it, it feels amazing, right? And it's as if the game is speaking to you in a way. It's basically asking you to, you know, keep going along even though you keep falling down. And I think that's amazing. It's as if the game developers are basically sitting with you right in that room while you're playing that game, and they're asking you to keep going. And I think that, like any kind of art, games, they send a certain kind of message to the people who play them, you know, or the people who are willing to go out there, or okay, that's metaphorical, to go out there and, you know, try out this world that they have made over the years. And I think that in the modern age, that is, games are a way to tie a lot of communities together. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I think. Okay, so just so you know, this is not any kind of philosophical podcast, so I'll try to keep it down a little, but yeah, I'll try not to get too deep into those subjects. All right, anyway, so let's talk about gaming addiction. So gaming addiction, any kind of thing, like if you do too much, it's obviously a problem. And I did not want to speak about this, and I did not want to give people a bad scare before they even tried it out, but well, we are a social science institute and I have to talk about the negative stuff as well. So gaming addiction, it's as simple as it gets. People don't drink. So a person died at some point because they did not drink water because they were too engrossed in their game. A couple basically forgot to take care of their baby because they were too much into gaming. Just don't be that person, okay? Is that too much to ask? Like, come on. You having self-control is important. You know, taking games as just another part of your life is important. As I said, a lot of people, like, it helped me overcome, a lot of difficult times in my life, but it was among other things that helped me. If you have only one outlet when it comes to anything, not just gaming, that's gonna turn into an addiction. That's how it works. Something that makes you feel good, and that's the only thing that makes you feel good. Boom, before you know it, you're addicted. So don't do that. All right. Okay, so now that I've cleared all those parts, let's take some questions from people. Okay, so I'll try to keep it anonymous because I don't want people to think that I am kind of breaching their privacy or something, unlike governments nowadays. But okay, so what kind of games are good for playing alone, which are good for playing with other people? Okay, poorly made question, but okay. So single player games are good for playing alone. Uh, but let me just tell you which games I recommend for you to play. Okay, for single player games, I heavily recommend Elden Ring if you hate yourself, or any Souls or Soulsborne games. All right, if you are looking for a very big challenge, you can start with you can probably start with first person shooter games. You can start with GTA. GTA is easy, it's fun, and you will love the characters. Yeah. Or you can try something more story driven. I would probably recommend Hollow Knight. It's a 2D game. The mechanics are easy to grasp, and the story is absolutely phenomenal. So you should try that out. Which are good for playing with other people. Okay, so multiplayer games. You can play Valorant. It's very competitive, but if you play with your friends, it's super fun. You can always try Minecraft. It gets a lot of, it's a very split debate, but I'm one of those people who loves it. It has created a lot of amazing, the community is amazing when it comes to multiplayer games. Okay, some multiplayer games are full of toxic people, all right, but Minecraft, from what we have seen, like from what I have experienced for the most part, and the people who have made Minecraft, even they are nice. Okay, so it's, and people who play Minecraft, even they are nice. So it's not me saying that, okay, it's just Minecraft makes people better. Perhaps we should just get other people to play Minecraft at some point, because it's so nice and relaxing, and you get a pet dog and or a pet cat, and you just live your life nicely there with your friends. It's very relaxing. Okay. It seems that most video game players are male. Why do boys like video games more than girls do? Okay, good question. Okay, it's true. Most of the gaming community is male dominated. It's true, but that probably that is kind of an old perspective, in my opinion. A lot of female gamers are getting into the community, and believe me, some of them not everyone can be great at gaming, so some of them like are probably like some of the best. So there are some female gamers that I have seen that are amazing. Okay, I cannot hope to beat them. So yeah, so female gamers are just as good, and a lot of girls are getting into gaming nowadays. And yeah, so there's no thing that that it's something more male exclusive anymore. Okay, why do boys like video games more than girls do? Interesting question, and it has a lot of debates going around it. I do think that the protagonists of video games have a lot to do with it. It sounds stupid. Okay, it sounds very stupid, but hear me out. All right. So back in my school days, one of my friends, I used to play a multiplayer game with him, and he refused to pick any female characters that were in that game. Right? It sounds crazy, but that's how it is. All right. And I was extremely surprised. I was like, why won't you play the female characters? What's the big deal? And he said, no, it does not feel like, I just don't like it. So at that point, I started thinking that, oh, well, if you see, a lot of video games have male protagonists. So perhaps a lot of people don't feel like, they are really playing that game. Look, in games, you would probably have, it plays with the imagination a lot. And as a child, when I used to play the game, I used to think, okay, oh, I can do so many amazing things in this game. I can do it because that's a male protagonist. That's how it felt, right? But nowadays, a lot of games are coming up that have female protagonists. Like I would recommend Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a great game. It's come to PC very recently as well, so you can try that out. The problem is getting more minimal. The gender gap when it comes to the gaming community is slowly slowing down. So yeah, it's good. I think things are pretty great in the community right now. Some video games are very violent. Do you think they influence their players to be violent in real life? If so, what should we do about it? Okay. Some video games are extremely violent. I do agree. I have seen people get split up from the middle vertically in video games, and I have played Doom, so there's a lot of blood in it. But I do not really think that it influences players to be violent. In fact, actually, according to a statistic, apparently the violence among teenagers has actually reduced since video games. So yeah, there is your statistic. It shows that, well, video games don't really promote violence, really. At some point, my brother and I, we used to try WWE moves on each other, but that's when we watched WWE, not really video games. So yeah. If so, what should we do about it? Well, if a person is being if a person is being a jerk to you, and the excuse they give is that they are playing violent video games, you should probably ask the person to grow up, because no one really does that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is the last question for today. What is your favorite all-time game? Why was it great? Interesting question. That's a hard question, actually. But my favorite all-time game probably has to be Neo. Okay, the Neo series by Team Ninja. So the Neo series is basic. So for the people who don't know what Dark Souls is, it's basically the pinnacle of video game difficulty, right? It's the hardest game known to man. Okay, when I say man, I mean everyone, all right, in the gaming community. So it's the hardest game ever, and the game was so popular that it created an entire genre to itself, and it's called Souls-like. All right. So within that genre, there's another game that's called Neo. All right. Now, Dark Souls games are great, but the gameplay did not really click for me. But when it comes to Neo, it had everything. The combat was great. The story is, based on medieval Japan. It has a lot of historical figures in it, so you learn a lot as well. And I basically enjoyed it a lot. It's one of my favorite games, and at some point I have replayed it multiple times also, probably 3-4 times. So yeah, I'm kind of crazy about that game. Its story might not be as good as some other games like Hollow Knight that I recommended, but if you're looking for a good time or in a good challenge, I would recommend Neo to anyone. Alright, so yeah, that was it. That was the 15th episode of Goonj. So yeah, thank you for listening, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is a new one. This is the only episode that's on YouTube. It's weird. Not only episode actually, but it's a video episode, so it's new. And follow us on Spotify. The links are in the description. And do try to follow us on Instagram as well for more updates and some bloopers in case we decide to give some bloopers. All right then. So see you, and see you guys in the next episode. Bye.